Welcome to Master It Monday. I am your host, Maggie Carey, and today we have a very special presentation. We're going to be talking about the value of social media from a profit first professional. So, I have a special guest today, and we are actually alive and in person. So, if you're watching us today, make sure you leave those comments in the chat below and we will make sure that we pull you up and have your questions answered. Now, I want to introduce you to somebody who is a dear friend as well as one of the most intelligent women I know. Her name is Jennifer Perez. She's a wife and mother of three, and she loves to travel. She has the heart of a teacher and a passion for educating entrepreneurs on how to reach their financial goals in business to support the lifestyle they deserve. As a certified profit first professional, Jennifer provides the tools to help small business owners implement a cash management system so that they can maximize profit. Profit First is attractive to her as it dovetails nicely with her experience and expertise as a bookkeeper. That knowledge is a great foundation for coaching her clients to accelerate them to realizing profitability and to not only maintain but to steadily and consistently increase their ROI to become a to become virtually permanently profitable. So I'm going to, without further delay, let's bring on Jennifer Perez. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Maggie.
Thanks for joining me today. So, I am so excited to talk to you about. We're going to talk a little bit about the value of social media from a profit first professional. But what I'd like to do is first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Profit First as well, so that we can kind of get a better understanding of what you do?
Sure. Again, my name's Jennifer Perez. I am located just north of Dallas and have, as Maggie had mentioned, I have three beautiful kids, one actually on the way. So we're about to be four more. I'm excited about that. Um, Regarding Profit First, probably about 3 years ago, as a bookkeeper, I had the question of, well, how much should I be paying myself? I'm making some money. What do I do with it to make sure I'm being strategic about it so I can scale my business? And everyone told me to read this book called Profit First. So, along with a list of books that I'm sure you also have, I decided to, okay, let's just do it. I read the book in 2 days, which is very fast for me, and implemented the method immediately. And after what I saw, what it did for my business after 3 months, I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. I was not only paying myself more, but I was driving profit intentionally. I had a deeper awareness of my expenses, and I was saving for taxes that I just assumed, okay, come tax time, that's a bill, right? So those are just some of the examples of the things it did for my business that I decided I wanted to take that knowledge and further help my clients. So I did go through the certification process. We renew that every year. And so now I've learned a lot more than just what you read out of the book to be able to truly help the clients scale and even get into some advanced strategies. So that's kind of my experience and how I got started with it, and have actually transitioned from, I no longer do the bookkeeping, I focus more on the coaching and the strategy in a business. So that's where my heart and passion is and where I'm at today.
That's awesome, Jennifer. I love how, look, we evolved, Master at Media evolved as well because we saw that trends were driving more into the social media realm, right? Like this is what we're seeing businesses are struggling with and trying to get a handle on because it's not so easy because what happens is every 3 months one of the platform changes something, right? Like before we've talked about video, right? Like video is now becoming the thing that was it like when I created my company, Instagram didn't have Instagram reels, right? TikTok wasn't a thing, right? These things are happening so fast and furious that it's difficult for businesses to keep up with social media. We see that a lot with the businesses kind of trying to figure out, what do I do? How do I do it? How do I make it happen? what platform should I be on? What time of day should I post? How do I know if something's working, right? Like all those great questions that businesses have. Um, how do you see now with your business? You're looking at we're looking at maintaining as much profit as we can. Social media is out there for the most part for free, investment of time, right?
Mhm.
Why do you feel social media is so vital for businesses in today's world?
The primary reason is really to show yourself as the brand expert, and the content really is what shows people what it is that you do. Sometimes we don't have enough time to talk about what it is we do, and it's not as simple as saying I'm a realtor. For example, that can sometimes be pretty obvious, whereas what I do is a little bit more niche, you could say. But even if you're just, I don't want to say just, but if you're a realtor, there's more to you than just that. And so when you're putting out the content and of what you do and how you do it and who you service, it really makes people feel more welcome and comfortable in talking to you and maybe reaching out to you when they're ready for your services. I know that it's helped me a lot in I'm getting more people like sharing my social media posts and whatnot versus just liking it and commenting, so eventually you get more interaction with it as you build that audience as well, that more people have that awareness of who you are and what you do.
Right. And, one of the things that we do, and Master at Media handles Jennifer's amazing content on social media, but it's amazing because she's got such great advice to give. And that's where we see some businesses are hesitant to share their great tips. Jennifer is not hesitant to share her great tips because look, as much as she can tell you what to do, it's difficult to do it on your own because she is coaching people and giving them strategy. And I think one of the big things that I notice, excuse me, Jennifer, one of the big things I notice with your services is the accountability portion. People need to be held accountable. We all get mired, right, in in the day to day, right? Things happen. Jennifer's dealing with sunburn. I had a child who graduated college. All of these things kind of pull us away from our business and pull focus, which is, what it should be because family comes first. Um, I guess, well, profit comes first, but family comes first. Profit first in our business. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
But we are struggling with getting the information out. And people say, well, I don't want to give out my best tips, right? Circling back to how I started this conversation when I digress. But what by providing these tips, what you're doing is you're establishing yourself, you're proving that you are an expert in your field, no matter how much free advice you give out there, people still need you. They need your help because, like with me, they social media changes. Every time we turn around, there's a new thing going on. There's new service. There's a new platform. There's whatever, right? How are people going to stay? Social media isn't their thing, right? Doing, managing their expenses and looking at in such a unique way the way you do it. Oh, it's over and above bookkeeping. It's different than accounting. It's really strategizing and figuring out this intricacy that is unique to you, and that's like your socials, right? Your socials, a lot of people struggle with their social because they don't know how to put themselves in their business, right? Um, and explain it in a way where they're giving that free advice. So what are some of the things that you've seen in your business in your socials that you found that people have been engaging with, that they've been commenting on or liking? What are some of the social media posts that you've noticed have done well?
So I will say for what I do, a lot of the more personal types of content are getting more comments or shares and whatnot. But also what I'm loving is, especially with Maggie with Master at Media, they understand, we've been together and working together enough that they actually understand my business, enough that when they create the content, I almost never even have to make changes to it because they get me. They speak like it's coming from me, and I love that because I don't have time necessarily in my business to focus on that. That's not my expertise. My expertise is in the financial realm of a business and maximizing that profit. So a lot of those posts that I'm getting more comments on or interaction with are those when I bring in, okay, because of my family, or for example, I think a more recent one came out of, hey, pink or blue, we are expecting. And there was a post along with that, and I'm getting more feedback on that, or just asking people questions. So yes, you want to have like, 4th of Memorial Day is coming up, right? You're going to want to have something in there because everybody does that. But just a lot of the ones that make you unique and you get personal about it on, it's not just these are the services that we offer, but this is who I am and who you would be working with, that kind of helps build that rapport, in that when they are ready to move forward, they kind of already have an idea of who I am as a person.
Right, because we keep forgetting that social media is meant to be social, right? Like, and it's hard because we see it as a technology, but it really is just a new method of communicating. And when you're sitting there and you're saying, you talked about the realtor earlier, right? So spot on, right? So what makes that filter different? What and like with you, it's like, okay, so you're not hiding this fact, right? It's not something you can hide. So you kind of like eventually this is gonna happen. And but I think that also gets people in, like, here's a working professional who's managing a family, who's, working this into her business, how her business is going to run with this. And but people love this. People love that behind the scenes look at your business, right? We talk about being authentic in our socials, right? Like, how are you authentic in your socials? And that's where it's tough because even though, and I so appreciate the beautiful words, of how we're doing, and you don't have to modify your socials. It's that's our goal, right? Because what we do is we sit down with Jennifer once a month and we talk for 30 minutes, and it's chit chat. Like, I make it try to be as painless as possible where we just sit down and we talk. And as we're talking, I'm asking, so what are you doing in your business? What's coming on? Is there anything, something somebody should be looking at? Like we talked about taxes, right? So in April and March, we had mentioned taxes, right? This is one of the bank accounts that you'd be setting up when you're establishing, or buckets when you're establishing your profit first, right? So things like that are important. So you have to have kind of like a mix of different things. Like if Jennifer just did a post every day about her baby, eventually it was going to get boring. I don't know. I love to hear about it, but some people might not be like, well, what does this have to do, right? When you look at all of the other things that she does, she'll have tips, she'll have testimonials, right? All of these different things that we're setting up in a social media plan is helping keep the audience engaged. Um, we also talk about how you need to engage on a platform, right? You have to participate. You can't just post. You post. It's like I said to somebody, what if I went up to you and said hello and you said hello back and I walked away? Like, that's what you're doing on social media if you don't reply to somebody who comments to you. You're just walking away. Like, the whole purpose is engagement, right? What, Jennifer, what was one of the things when you looked at your social media and said, "I needed help," right? What was your goal in your socials? What were you hoping to gain? We all want new clients, right? Like, that's a given. That's a given, right? But there's so many other things. Like, we have people who are like, well, I want to increase my followers, or I want to um, really solidify my brand online. I want to develop, or further develop my social media, or my digital footprint, right? What were some of the things that you found with your business that you felt that social media could solve, and how has it solved it, or is it still a work in progress?
So one thing, the main focus was really to build that content and build that awareness of who I am here. This is what I do, on top of showing people that I'm the expert in what I do. So, but what I love is that you also kind of give me a heads up. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to do all of these posts this week and then next week you're getting a whole bunch of clients. That's just not the way social media works. Excuse me. And it is going to take time, because as you start posting more and interacting more, you start getting seen more, especially depending on the type of platform that's being used. And I think that's kind of what helped is I'm now, like I said, getting more people sharing my posts too, not just commenting on them, but if they're sharing them, then even more their connections are now being able to see that. So it is a slow pace with regards to just the posting aspect of it, but it's a lot more people now are, even when I see them in person or talk to them over the phone, they may have mentioned a post that they saw. So I'm being recognized a lot more than 6 months ago when I think it's been about six or 7 months that we've been working together, and it's doing exactly what I want it to do. That now I'm like, okay, the awareness is there. There's a lot of content out there. What else can we be doing to start driving traffic to getting clients in the door type of thing? And so that's one thing that Maggie's helped me with, is more of that interaction and things that we need to be working on as well.
Right. And, so Jennifer and I met through an organization called Master Networks. It's a networking group. Now, I'm a social media strategist, right? But I know the value of building relationships in person, online, and through now our region. We're in New York. Jennifer is in Texas, but up in the New York, Connecticut, New Jersey region, we're all meeting virtually. So we're on Zoom. But I'm building. You have components to your business, right? That you're building as you're going through. So Jennifer had a booth at this event, and she was a speaker at the event, right? But she has her social media, and people were commenting on, wow, your social media is great. So much so that Jennifer said, can you give me your card? Because people are asking me.
I got like a whole
I'm
box
like,
of it.
great. Right now, I still need a business card. Like, that's the thing, right? You need all these components to run a business. It's like if you looked at a desk, right? Like, what do you have on your desk? Well, you have your phone, you have your computer, you have a pen, you have paper, you have all these tools, right? Maybe you have something that just looks pretty, right? That makes you happy. A photo of your kids, right? Of your family. All of these things that you have on your desk are tools that you use in order to do your job, right? Or to make you happy, right? Because we should be doing things that make us happy ultimately. Yep, there you go.
3-year-old made for Mother's Day a flower to take home. So
Oh, that's adorable. See, now, and those are things, right, that when you look at when you look at your social media, it is a piece of a bigger component, right? It's one of the things that you're doing for your exposure. Because think about it, when you go shopping for something, like say you're looking, I mean, for anything, let's just say you're looking for a new pair of shoes, right? There are a lot of shoes out there, right? You're going to start niching down, right? Are you looking for, are you looking for sneakers? Are you looking for business shoes? Are you looking for sandals? Like, and you start niching down what you're looking for, where you're looking for. Do you want to buy them online? Do you want to buy them in person, right? You start niching down what you're looking for. So are your customers that are looking for you. Where do they go to find out? Like, we don't just talk about profit first on because some people don't know what profit first is. We were all introduced to it. Jennifer introduced it to me. I got the book because I'm like, this stuff is great. I need to start implementing it, right? These are things that you look at in your business and say, okay, so if somebody is going to look for me, what are they searching for? And they're looking to how to increase their revenue. And what Jennifer's saying is, okay, increase your revenue, but decrease your expenses. Create buckets so that you're not surprised when your tax bill comes. You have the funds saved just in case. You know how much you can spend on this or that, right? These are important things that Jennifer provides on her social, right? With tips. Now, when somebody is looking for that, they're like going back to the shoe scenario, if I'm looking for sandals, I've got the sandals I want to buy. I found them online, right? Now I've got to figure out who am I going to buy them from? So what do? I start looking at reviews. I start looking at websites. I start looking at social media. Are they active? One of the things that we noticed during COVID, we had a few businesses that weren't really posting that much on social every once in a while. Now, if you were, what was happening was businesses were closing left and right. They just couldn't sustain it without, with the lockdown. And some people thought they closed up shop. They thought they went out of business because so many people went out of business. So not having a social media presence could have been a deterrent from somebody buying you from you, right? So how do people keep current with their social? What are some of the things that you found with social media that keeping people, is it more about they want to be informed? Is it more research? What are some of the things you think people are looking for when they visit a business on social?
I think it's a variety of things depending on exactly what they're looking for. I will say that the one reason why I'm not worried or why I'm so open in providing my life story or examples personally gone through is because then people can relate to it. I mean, it's publicly out there that I filed bankruptcy 8, 9 years ago. And I used to be afraid to say that. I used to be embarrassed to say that. And now it's because of that that I now am who I am and what I do, because I have a passion to help people hopefully never have to go through what I did. Same thing in business. I made mistakes. We've all made mistakes in business or in life that we, hope the next person doesn't make. And that's part of why I do what I do. Um, when we have posts that are a very I guess a variation, it also kind of keeps in top of the mind. So if they're like, yeah, I'm not worried about your personal life, I just want to know the facts. Well, there's some facts out there too. And so there are different types of people looking for that. And you want to make sure that you're also top of mind. So the frequency of the posts help, because if they keep seeing my post over and over, the different ones, then when it comes time for them to be ready to, oh, I need that product or service, you're probably one of the more upfront in their mind of, okay, I'm going to go talk to that person and see how they can help me versus, oh, let me try to Google it because I don't know anyone. So it's
Right.
really just being that top of mind and being consistent with that. That was why one reason I reached out to Maggie in the first place is I couldn't be that consistency of making sure I had those posts every single week on the same platforms, etc. And I also am not an expert in social media. So I didn't know what platforms were best for who my ideal clients were. And that's something that helped too, is knowing where the audience was to focus my time and effort on that versus like I'm not on TikTok. I've never tried TikTok. I don't know if that's something in the future or not, but it's probably not where my ideal client is at the time. So I don't want to waste time or energy on it, at least for now. So.
Right. And being on LinkedIn where there's C-level professionals, right, is more where or and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. That's more where Jennifer is going to find her, her people. Her people are there. But you made a really valid point with that consistency, and you're building that relationship. It's funny because people say, well, they would tell me, Maggie, I see you're everywhere. I'm like, good. Glad you see me everywhere. Because that's also telling me that they're also looking at different places. Just wanted to take a brief moment. This is Maggie Carey from Master It Media. We're on Master It Monday with my very special guest, Jennifer Perez. She is a profit first professional. If you're joining us live and you have a comment or a question, please make sure you leave that in the chat. And regardless of what platform you're watching us on, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and we are also on YouTube. So leave those questions in the comment. If you're watching this on the replay, we can certainly go back and answer your questions that way. Obviously, not live, but we can answer them in the chat for you. So, one of the things that Jennifer had mentioned was about being authentic and sharing who you are. And the struggles that you've had. One of the reasons I created my social media process was because I was struggling with social. I was up late at night trying to figure out how to post and what to post and where to post. And I got to be on all these platforms and I don't know what I'm doing. And then something changes and you've got to fix it, right? Like when you're running your business, you don't have time to do all the things. I don't have time to do all the things. I hire people to help me do things. I contract out people. Look, we haven't, everybody has an accountant, or usually most people, most businesses have an accountant. Most people have a lawyer. They have people that do the things, right? But for some reason, the world feels that you have to do your own social, which is not necessarily true. You need to be featured in your social. You need to be the face of your social. Like Jennifer provides us amazing photos of herself, right? Of her family every once in a while. Like we're sharing these things because it's important to be that face of your business. If you have any questions for Jennifer and I, leave them in the comments. We'll pull them up. But I do want to ask another one. One last question from me anyway is when you're sharing your story, like you had said, you shared your story about the bankruptcy, which I think is great because you know what? It shows we're not all perfect, but that experience also shows people that this is where I was. Like you're your best client, right? This is where I was. This is where I am. Like that's how I grew my own social media. That's how I went from staying up until midnight trying to create stuff that was not the best to doing all this work and all this research and figuring out what to do to land where I am now. Of course, social media changes every day. Jennifer, you don't have to deal with that. And I'm so happy for you. But I'm sure there are going to be things that change in your business, right? So when you shared this and you kind of opened yourself up, how does it make your clients feel when they know you've been there?
That's the big thing that I've been there before. Sometimes they can relate. I hope they don't relate to that, but or maybe they're on the verge of that, and I can help them in a way not go that route. And that, of course, there's bankruptcy in business and in personal. Mine was personal, but a lot of times what we do in business falls back into our personal life. We want to make sure that we pay ourselves first, pay ourselves well and fair of what we really deserve to get paid because we work hard. We wear multiple hats as a business owner. And maybe someday you want to just have one hat of being the owner, but until we get to that point, you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And I know Prego Brain is working on me right now. Like this happens sometimes. You're mid sentence and then you kind of
like, where was
forget
I?
what you're talking about.
Also go. I have no excuse, and I also go on tangents. So you can't blame. Don't. It's totally fine. I understand.
But I will say that it's one thing I didn't want to forget to mention is that sometimes people don't do social, or they do the social media on their own first because they maybe don't have the budget for that. And sometimes when you're first getting started, okay, that might make sense to get that because you don't necessarily have the revenue coming in. But eventually you also have to look at, okay, well, if I'm spending my time and energy creating the messaging, creating the picture that you're going to use, the media part of that, posting it all, being strategic with when and all of that, responding to the people that are commenting and sharing. When you factor all that time going into that, how much of that time is taken away from you doing what you love doing, which in my case is coaching my clients. So it's sometimes you might be like, oh, I don't have that kind of income right now. But at the same time, couldn't you take in more income if you outsourced something such as that for someone else to handle? It's more of an investment versus, yes, it's an expense in your business, but I think of it more as an investment because you're opening up time for you to do the things that you love. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not great at plumbing. I would not try to do it myself. I'm going to hire a plumber because they're the expert in what they do. So if it's not something that I really love doing and enjoy and I'm an expert in, why not outsource that and find a way to make that happen, because ultimately that's going to bring in more people too and bring in the income and make up for itself. But that was one tip I wanted to make sure I brought up before we ended today.
Oh, wonderful. And we also have Kimberly coming in and saying, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Feel free to leave a question if you have one in the chat. But we're so happy to have people. We get people who watch us on the replay, and we love that too. I know it's hard now. In COVID land, it was very easy to get people to join us live. Now, with the world opening up, it's a little bit different. We're all getting back into our typical busy lives. So that's one of the beauties about social media, where you we post this and then it has an afterlife. you know it isn't You don't always have to wait until the you know for, oh, I got to watch that on TV now. Well, this is why streaming services are so great. I used to tell my kids, I think, you had tapes, like they had tapes and DVDs and all this stuff. We had to wait for Saturday to watch cartoons. Like now you can watch cartoon anytime you want. It's with social, right? So when somebody wants to follow Jennifer, you can go to her. She's got Facebook, she's got LinkedIn. You can go over. She's got great, amazing tips on them. Please go over. Here's her LinkedIn. We'll put it in the chat below. But make sure you follow her, because she is there to help you get the most out of your business and make sure that you're getting the profit that you deserve out of your business. And look, Jennifer has done it well, to the point where she takes, how many vacations have you taken?
Well, it was pre-COVID. After COVID, things changed a bit, but the 6 years before COVID, I think I went on 36 vacations.
Oh my gosh.
So
I would love to go on vacation. That
yeah.
like that. That is just amazing.
And some of
Uh,
them were, week longs, all inclusives in Mexico, or a week in Egypt, or a 12-day cruise, or I mean, it wasn't just a weekend getaway, and those were not including going to grandma's house.
yeah.
So that's one reason why I love what I do too, is because we take what we do in business, we give ourselves a profit distribution. That's part of what you can do with the profit that you get, and just enjoy the life that you love. And that's what I love. That's how I met my husband, actually. And
Oh,
so through our travel club. And so we love to travel. And so that's kind of where a lot of our profits end up going towards.
so, and this is more of what we need to talk about, Jennifer, because I want to take more vacations too. And it's a fun way to also, Jennifer can give you tips on what to do, as far as, I'm sure, like, how can we combine those vacations with our business, right? How do you balance that, where maybe part of it can be a write off?
Hmm.
I mean, that's a great way to kind of look at your
Yeah.
business in a strategic manner. And she also has such a wealth of valuable connections. So if it's something that you need help with surrounding what she teaches, she can also help you with the connections to her trusted colleagues that can help you with other things that are kind of on the periphery of what she does as well, which is, look, it's sometimes it's not the what, it's the who, right? It's who you know. And Jennifer has such an amazing, fun personality. So give her a call, follow her. We've been popping these up. Here's her website, jenniferperez.net. You have her Facebook, and you also have her LinkedIn. One of the things that Jennifer had mentioned while she was talking was how important it is for you to look at your social media as one of those business expenses. Like, if I'm doing this, it's not just your money that you're spending, it's your time. Your time is an asset. So one of the things that we do here at Master It Media is provide a quick audit. So if you pop over to masteritmedia.com/quick audit, I can help you with a half an hour strategy session to really nail down what I'm seeing in your social, and some suggestions that I can give you to get you started, because we have different packages. We serve people in different ways. So one of our products is Painless Posting. This is a subscription service with a post every day for you that you can tweak. It's their templates that'll get you from the beginning of trying to create your social to that next step. And of course, we have our services like Jen gets, where all she has to do is chat with me for 30 minutes, and we have so much fun. And I make it as painless as possible, and we chat, and we she gives me photos, and we create all of her content. She approves them, or she makes her minor tweaks that she has, and we worry about everything else: when to post it, where to post it, what hashtags to use, and give her that kind of insight and analysis every month that tells her what's working and what's working better, so that we can figure out where we should focus our energies on. So make sure you reach out to me, Maggie Carey at Master Media. I want to thank Jennifer for her time and her talent in coming here. Jennifer, do you have any final words for our listeners today?
The only thing I would say is if you've never heard of Profit First before, Google it, read it. It's an amazing book. There's an audio version. Amazon sells it for I think like $16, $17. Even if you do the audio, get the book, because there's some charts in there that could be super. I still reference the book sometimes. But that's a great starting point to get that going. And it's really a cash flow method. I know Maggie mentioned earlier about, connections. So like we don't do tax strategy, but I have tax strategists that I do connect with that can help my clients. And a part of that too is, we work with those systems and processes so you can take that week-long vacation and not have to worry about your job and not be working the whole time. When you're on vacation, you need to enjoy your vacation with your family or whoever, your friends, whoever you're with. So we do offer free discovery sessions. So if you guys are interested, definitely put a comment in the below, and then we can reach back out. But I appreciate you, Maggie, and thank you so much for having me on as your guest, and looking forward to our next session.
Thank you. I do, and thank you so much for popping on and sharing your insights on social media. I put Jennifer's website here. Jennifer, um, is there, like, do you give excerpts of the book?
Yes. So if you're kind of hesitant, there is on my website, there's a resources page where you can download a PDF of the core chapters that will be my gift to you. So if you have questions, it's jenniferperez.net/resources, or just go to the homepage, click on resources. You'll see the Profit First core chapters. You just need to provide your name and email, and you'll get an email of the PDF of those chapters to at least make sure it's what you're looking for.
Oops. Sorry, Jennifer, I pulled you off. I hit the wrong button.
You're
Technology is great.
good.
I'm sorry. But yes, and and that was one of the things Jennifer also, like, she'll be locally, she does workshops. She has workshops. So make sure you're following her on her socials. Sign up to get onto her newsletter so that she releases a blog post every month, so that you can kind of keep up with what's going on in the whole world. She provides so much value to people that it's amazing. So if you're looking to increase that profit in your business, this lady is the person to get in touch with. So thank you for that, Jennifer, and sharing all of your great insights. So happy to have you as one of our clients at Master at Media, as well as a friend, and we're also in a coaching group. I mean, she's going to get so sick of me by the end of this year. It's going to be terrible. She's going to be like,
No.
what the heck, Maggie? No, she's not. We love each other. It's a love fest. So when you end up looking at your business and challenges that you're having and that you're struggling, you've got Jennifer to help you gain your profit. You have Master at Media to help you with your social. And of course, with Master Networks, we can connect you to anybody else you need, because we have a wealth of contacts there. So don't feel like you have to do this all alone, people. You have people here willing to help you and get you to that next level. And thank you, KJ, for joining us today live. We appreciate your comments, and we hope to see you next Monday at 2 o'clock Eastern. Master at Media is here every Monday at 2 to help you take the commotion out of your promotion. Have fun, everyone. And remember, be on social, be yourself, and don't let fear stand in your way of making money in your business. Right, Jen?
Yep. Yep. May the profits be with you.
I love it. All
Yep.
right, guys, have a great day, and we will see you next Monday at 2.